Hey man, it's Mike. I just got a message from you and clicked on your channel and watched a couple of your videos, and I thought I'd make you a reply video. And so I get that your challenge right now is social anxiety, and it's good to see you making videos and sharing because that takes some courage to do that and to put yourself out there on YouTube. So respect for that. And yeah, so I wanted to share some thoughts with you and try and be of some value to you. Do you know about the ego? The ego is the chatter that you hear in your mind. It's when we're saying things in our head, like we'll be walking down the street and then we'll hear ourselves say, am I walking? Do I look daft? Am I walking properly? Are people going to notice how I'm walking? So all those kind of thoughts, that's the voice of the ego. Now, once you can transcend the voice of the ego, it starts to quieten down, and you'll find that you relax a lot easier. So I just wanted to mention that I can post the link underneath this video for another video you can check out, but I would strongly recommend you investigate that further. That would be my first number one. You mentioned that alcohol isn't really the best strategy or a long-term strategy. Your number one strategy is education, to investigate further the workings of your own mind. I want to share with you some challenges that I went through when I was 19. I was a student at the time in Sheffield. And you know what, at that time, the lads that I shared accommodation with, they were all getting out there, going to bars, bringing girls back, all of that. And I was an introvert. I found it difficult to be myself, and I had never, I think I'd kissed a girl, but that was as far as I'd ever got with a girl. And I felt very paranoid because it was like I was the only one that wasn't getting girls. Then my shy bladder got worse. I don't know if you know, I do a shy bladder channel. Shy bladder's where you can't piss stood next to another guy, basically. And I isolated myself and smoked weed, and that's how I dealt with it. And I felt very uncomfortable in my own skin. One of the things I noticed you talk about was your driving instructor, and that he was asking you what you're doing on the weekend. This is social chatter that we engage in. It's a social pleasantry to ask, oh, what are you doing this weekend? And da 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 da. So people can talk like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? And oh, I did this, da 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 da. And there's no real thought going on behind what they're saying. It's just rah, 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 rah. You know, you can do it on automatic. It's like learning to play a role. Now, there are advantages of being able to play along with the script, so to speak. The advantages of being able to play along is we become... I was going to say we become accepted, but it's not about being accepted. I mean, people find it more comfortable to be around us when we are able to play along. Some people feel comfortable. Some people feel more comfortable talking than they do being silent. Like, I can be silent. I can be in a room and not speak. People speak as a way to avoid the other person. You see, some people find silence very uncomfortable. When you sat with a person, like say someone sat opposite you, but there's no conversation, some people can't handle that. They have to talk, even if it's like, rah, 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 rah. What did you do this weekend? Oh, I went out, da, 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 da. I drank this, you know. So, in the society that we live in, it is a handy skill to have. The skill of being able to go along with the script a little bit. And at first, it may feel like you're going along with it, and it's like, you know, why should I have to go along with it? But then after a while, you start being more of your true self. And then when you're accepting yourself and you're forgiving yourself, when someone asks you, oh, what did you do this weekend? Like, I keep myself to myself, right? I don't really go out to clubs and bars anymore. If someone asks me what I did this weekend, I can say kind of flippantly, I'm a social recluse. I don't go out. I prefer to stay in and read a book. Now, because I said that and it just rolled off my tongue and I say it with abandon, it's like, this is me, take me or leave me. Because I say it from that place, the other person is cool with it because we're cool with it. You see, once you accept yourself as you are, other people will accept you and they'll start to accept you because you accept you. They'll accept your quirks and your eccentricities that you may have. But we fear what the other person is thinking of us, and we don't want to say, like, how can I, your mind will be saying, how can I tell him that I don't like going out? He'll think I'm weird. But because we're afraid of other people thinking that we're weird, makes us uncomfortable with ourselves. And if we're uncomfortable with ourselves, other people are going to feel that. Now, you wouldn't make me feel uncomfortable. I think I do, totally accept and love myself. Well, I'm learning to love myself even more, accept myself, forgive myself, and I'd accept you as you are. You don't have to be anything around me. So, one thing that we do is the ego, projects its insecurities onto the other person. So that's why it may have felt like he was being nosy. Now, obviously I wasn't in that situation, so I don't know the dynamics or the context of your relationship with your driving instructor. Maybe he was being nosy. But my hunch is that the ego was projecting the insecurity onto him and when it does that, your experience of him is that of someone who is being nosy, who is prying, because he's prodding. So when he asks you how was the weekend, and you get uncomfortable because you don't do anything on the weekend, the ego maybe feels like its weakness is being highlighted, so he's like kind of prodding at you. So, but once you become more comfortable with yourself, you'll be able to play along with the script a little bit easier without having to feel like you have to say, oh, I'm going to a nightclub. You don't have to say that. You can say, you know what, I'm staying in, I'm watching Band of Brothers, or whatever you want to do. You have your own free will to live out your life how you want to. You're not hurting anyone. So, and you know what? Yes, it's good to get exposure. But you know what? If you don't like going to bars and stuff, who says you have to go to bars? Like, my advice to anyone would be, do what you enjoy doing. You see, we have to, at the same time, we have to know when we're telling ourselves fibs. Because we could say, oh, just do what, like with my shy bladder, for example, I had to face it head on, and it meant putting myself in real awkward situations. So I'm not saying be willy-nilly, but if you don't like going out to bars, who says you have to go out to bars? Unless you really believe that it's going to help your social anxiety and you're ready to take that on, then that's different. Take it on. I mean, I do think it's good that you do get some kind of exposure. But my whole angle here is do what you enjoy doing. Find a passion. Find what you're passionate about. What made me passionate was breaking out of my own mind, because I'd created a prison for myself in my own mind. And my passion was to break out of that. And there were many things. Martial arts was one of them, because martial arts helps you to feel more free in your body. I was very rigid, and I'd be very self-conscious of how I was standing. Like, should I stand like this? Should I stand with my hand on the wall? Should I cross my legs when I sit? Should I have my hand like this? You know, very conscious of how I was carrying my body. And that went away with martial arts. Moving the body is very good, so I'm pleased to hear you say that you've been going for a walk. So that's good. Now, you mentioned that you go on Facebook, and you were very transparent in revealing that you've noticed that you stalk a little bit. Now, the good thing about that is you spoke it out into the world. You were being truthful. Telling the truth is so important to break out of your own mind. So that's a good thing, that you're telling the truth. Telling the truth to ourselves, knowing when we're lying to ourselves, and being able to speak the truth to another. And that's where your YouTube videos could be good therapy for you, as a kind of confession. You know, confession is good for the soul. So, and yeah, drinking. When we drink, the mask that we wear, the social mask, drops, and we do feel like we can be more of ourselves when we drink. So, but the other thing is, when we drink, all the stuff that we keep held down comes to the surface as well. So, and yeah, so I mean, drink can mess you up if you're drinking as a way out. You see, really, people drink to escape that mind chatter of the ego, because it does the head in, and when you drink, you feel like you can feel more relaxed than that. But yeah, keep that on a level where you're in control of when you drink and when you don't. So just wanted to share a few thoughts there. I hope you got something from this. I don't know if you know, I'm doing a 30-day challenge. But after each 30 days, we pick another challenge. So it's going to end next Tuesday, and then I'm going to start another 30-day challenge with everyone the following week. So I invite you to take part in that. And, don't beat up on yourself. When I look back to the challenge I went through on my shy bladder, I look back now and it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because if it wasn't for my insecurities, I wouldn't have been inspired enough to begin the journey of discovering my true self. It put me in a position where I was forced to learn about psychology, and not just psychology but my spiritual self. And I believe that's why I manifested shy bladder. That's why my spirit chose this particular journey. Yeah, I was thinking of something then. So, hope you got something from this. I'm going to leave it there. Catch you later, man. Peace.